This is a report of regular encounters with a young seal. This almost dog-like animal arrived at Rye Pier early in January 2011. For a period of 6 months, he was regularly seen by fishermen and divers, and just as he began to develop a celebrity status, he suddenly disappeared. For a time, it appeared that this seal was adopting all divers as part of his colony of new friends, and with his characteristic attitude of come and play, he would dash about turning and twisting, then suddenly free ascend to the surface like no other diver could, then just disappear, only to reappear with a quizzical look of, "Why can't you keep up?" Why he was rejected by his own kind, we will never know, but because he or she decided to spend so much time under the jetty, it gave us all an opportunity to observe some of the behaviour of a partially wild marine animal. Up close and personal was the order of the day. If you approached in a boat or underwater, the seal would give chase, hoping you might stop and play. And play we did. Most young seals that arrive to take up short-term jetty residency don't survive. They are often seen wasting away, probably due to an inability to feed themselves. However, this pup was different. He noticeably was putting on weight. This meant it had learnt to fish for itself. Over the observed period of 6 months, this marine animal must have entertained hundreds of divers and visitors. For many, it may have been their first underwater experience, not realising that this was not a regular occurrence, and thereby not appreciating the scenario as much as they should have. Other older, more experienced divers or camera buffs made regular visits. Thousands of shots were taken. They all knew that this was an opportunity that should not be missed, as another close encounter of this kind may not happen. Some divers were so occupied with what they were doing that they failed to notice the seal. However, normally the seal, like a spoilt child, demanded you paid it full attention. The pup seemed to be getting just as much out of this interaction as the clumsy humans were with it. At times it seemed to look rather amused at divers' efforts to either keep up or mimic its swimming acrobatics. A natural show-off with superior swimming skills, the seal was never shy and continually demonstrated that we were in fact, while in the water, the inferior species. With what appeared to be minimal effort, it annoyingly would glide gracefully past us. It's wise to remember that a seal hanging around a jetty is a wild animal, and even as friendly as it appears, it's wise not to trust him. This young pup occasionally would become extremely territorial and make aggressive manoeuvres to protect its space. A bite from a seal can quickly become infected, so waving ungloved hands is not recommended and might prove to be just too tempting to a hungry or playful seal. This seal was easily distracted and would sometimes disappear for a while, later to be found playing with a discarded plastic bag or pieces of kelp. His prowess and ability to manipulate small objects with his flippers was unanticipated. There are other critters that live around the jetty. Some, like seals, may arrive for a short while, then leave for a better area if food runs out. Schools of squid, mullet, garfish, salmon and a variety of species of baitfish are regular visitors to the area, and it's usual to find at least one of these species congregating under the jetty. There are cormorants that have made the area their own and have a predictable daily diving routine. They methodically check out each pylon or structure for something to eat. Some of these birds have become so confident and familiar with their territory and ability that divers are completely ignored. If a large school of baitfish shelter under the jetty, penguins might turn up for an easy feed, possibly creating a once-in-a-lifetime picture opportunity. However, although these scenarios are not uncommon, they are only possible if the area is seal-free. Once a seal decides to remain, the underwater scenarios change and most animals must leave quickly. If they can't, they will at least need to hide. Once a seal takes up residency, all other species, if not on the seal's menu, simply become playthings. These outcast and homeless critters continually make a nuisance of themselves. Everything is fair game. Every day, this seal continued to entertain us with its antics. With its sensitive whiskers, it continually found animals that we had not even seen. The seal on constant patrol would often steal fish from fishermen's lines. This messy way of breaking up the fish would attract seagulls from miles away. These hungry and noisy birds often stole the fish from the seal. One of the seal's favourite fish was salmon. These schooling fish would come to shelter under the jetty, possibly to hide from dolphins. Any salmon caught by fishermen and not retrieved quickly was soon stolen by the seal. This action was always noticed by the seabirds, mostly seagulls. Often the seal had to gulp the fish down fast, otherwise risk losing it to a quick-thinking bird. Another favourite food of the seal was squid. Having a large squid stolen by the seal would create the most reaction from the fishermen, especially if they had been fishing for a few hours, only to have the one and only squid eaten. To safely retrieve the catch required fast reactions and teamwork.
You still got it, you still got it.
The seal was often seen playing with its food. On closer examination, it was discovered it was usually the head portion, possibly not its favourite part, and therefore worth the risk of pleasure of play against the possibility of having it stolen by another creature. The smell of blood and fish bits eventually arouses the local ray population. These large animals do not fear the seal and blindly follow the blood trail to its original source. Having these two large animals competing for the same fish can create some interesting dive scenarios. Many stingrays have distinct marks or have had their tails cut off. This can make them easy to identify. Rays without tails and barbs can be approached with complete confidence. However, the seal still seemed to keep a healthy distance. This meant he was well aware of the potential danger that a fully armed stingray can inflict. Its last sighting was over the remains of the spider crab aggregation, where it was seen to be eating the odd remaining crab that had recently molted and had not migrated into deep water. The pup was also seen eating and or playing with old rotting shells. One theory of its sudden disappearance from the area is that it may have got sick from eating this rotting food. However, a much more romantic scenario will be that it had simply grown up and had developed enough confidence to leave the shelter of the jetty and join the small colony in the middle of Port Phillip.